I killed my best friend with a single eye, but it was her bullet that ended up in my chest. Or at least, that's what the world believed when the paramedics zipped me into the body bag. Turns out, dying isn't the end, it's just the beginning of someone else's war. And mine? It started with a body that wasn't mine, a ring that felt like a noose, and a family empire built on the bones of people like me. The rain-slicked streets of Brooklyn smelled like wet asphalt and regret that October night. The kind of autumn chill that seeps into your bones and whispers, "You should have stayed home." I was Sienna Reyes, 32, investigative reporter for the Daily Pulse. The scrappy underdog rag that clawed its way into New York scandals while the big boys like the Times sipped martinis at galas. My beat? Corporate corruption. The greasy underbelly of American dreams where billionaires played God with minimum wage souls. That night, I was chasing a ghost, the Harrington dynasty, old money wrapped in new tech, their empire a glittering tower of apps and algorithms that promised to disrupt poverty, but really just digitized it. I'd been posing as a temp at Harrington Innovations for 3 months, filing reports on their data harvesting scams, sucking up user info like vampires at a blood bank, selling it to the highest bidder while preaching ethical AI. The hook was Victoria Harrington herself, the Ice Queen heiress, 28 and sharper than a stiletto heel. She was the face of the family, all porcelain skin and power suits, but whispers in the break room said she was the devil's right hand. Her father, Reginald Harrington, was the puppet master, a silver-haired titan who'd buried more skeletons than a gravedigger in a mob war. It was supposed to be a simple handoff. My source, a jittery coder named Jax, Victoria's ex, the one she'd ghosted after he found out about her side projects, had arranged a meet at a dive bar in Williamsburg. Neutral ground, he said.
No tals.
But as I nursed a flat IPA in the corner booth, shadows flickering from the neon open sign, Jax didn't show. Instead, Victoria slid into the seat across from me, her smile a razor wrapped in silk. Sienna Reyes, she purred, voice like honey over gravel. Or should I say, Elena Vasquez? Cute alias. The temp with the killer resume. My blood turned to ice water. How the hell? I reached for my phone, but her manicured hand clamped over mine.
Easy, tiger.
We're not enemies. Yet. She leaned in, perfume sharp as ambition. Jax talks too much.
But you.
You're good. I need someone like you. What followed was the pitch from hell. Victoria wanted a fake fiancé. Her.
Me.
For the holidays, the galas, the endless Harrington schmooze fest. In exchange, an exclusive, the real dirt on her father. The kind that would topple his throne and make me a Pulitzer ghost. He's planning something biblical, she whispered, eyes darting like a cornered fox. A merger with Vanguard Corp that'll gut the middle class. But I can't touch him. Blood's thicker than ink.
Right?
Help me play the part, and I'll hand you the smoking gun. It was insane. Controversial as hell, me, a Latina from the Bronx, playing arm candy to white-collar royalty? The optics alone would spark Twitter wars. But the story. God. The story. I said yes over lukewarm coffee, sealing it with a handshake that felt like signing my soul away. That was Friday. By Sunday, everything shattered. We met at her loft in Soho, exposed brick, Warhol prints mocking from the walls, a view of the city that made you feel like you owned it. She poured scotch. Neat. And we rehearsed, handholds, Inside jokes. The art of the lingering glance. "Call me Vic," she said, laughing as I fumbled the pronunciation of darling without sarcasm. For a moment, it almost felt real. Almost. Then the door exploded inward. Men in black tactical gear, faces masked, guns drawn like it was a bad Michael Bay flick. Reginald's private security.
No, where's?
They moved like pros, zip-tying us before we could blink. Victoria screamed, a sound raw and animal, as they dragged us to a blacked-out SUV. Blindfolds on, hoods over heads, the world reduced to engine rumble and her muffled sobs beside me. Hours later, or minutes. Time blurs in hell. We were in a warehouse on the edge of the Gowanus Canal, the air thick with rust and rot. They yanked the hoods off, and there was Reginald Harrington himself, flanked by suits that screamed offshore accounts. His face was a mask of paternal disappointment, eyes like chips of flint.
Beak.
"Darling," he drawled, voice southern drawl polished by Ivy League. "You really thought you could play me? With this?" He jerked a thumb at me, like I was yesterday's trash. Victoria spat blood. Someone had clocked her en route. "It's over."
Dad.
"The merger's poison. People will die, jobs,
Lives.
the whole damn ecosystem." He chuckled, low and mean. "Sacrifices for progress.
Pumpkin.
And you're the leak." Jack sang like a canary before I fed him to the river. His gaze slid to me. "As for your little pet reporter, well, loose ends." The first punch landed on my jaw, stars exploding behind my eyes. They worked me over methodically, fists, boots, questions I couldn't answer because I didn't know shit about Victoria's insurance policy. She watched, chained to a pipe, tears carving tracks through the grime on her cheeks. "Stop. It's me you want." But Reginald wasn't listening. He pulled a snub-nosed revolver from his coat, the kind that looks like it belongs in a Tarantino fever dream, and pressed it to her temple. One bullet for the prodigal daughter. One for the nosy bitch who thought she could waltz into my house. The shot cracked like thunder. Victoria's head snapped back, blood arcing in a lazy spray that painted the concrete red.
No.
Not blood. Wait. That's not right. Time slowed, the world tilting as if the universe itself was drunk. Her eyes met mine, wide and pleading. And then, nothing. I don't remember the second shot. Just the burn in my chest, the wet choke of lungs filling with something hot and coppery. As I slumped, the last thing I saw was Reginald's face, twisted in triumph, mouthing, "Family first, darkness." Then, a gasp not mine. I was floating, or falling, or both. A vertigo spin through void. Whispers clawed at the edges. "Take it. Take her. Make it right." And suddenly,
Solidity. Flesh. Bone.
a body that hummed with alien rhythms, stronger, smoother, perfumed with Chanel No.
5.
I opened my eyes. Not in the warehouse. A hospital room, sterile white, machines beeping like accusatory fingers. My hands slender, unscarred, nails French-tipped flexed. Victoria's hands. I was in her body. Panic clawed at my throat, but I swallowed it. The mirror across the room showed her face staring back, pale, bruised, but alive. News ticker on the muted TV. Harrington heiress survives assassination attempt. Reporter fiancé presumed dead in crossfire.
Fiancé. Dead. Me.
The door swung open. A nurse, clipboard in hand. MS. Harrington, you're awake. How are you feeling? I forced a smile. Victoria's smile. All poise and porcelain. Like I need a drink. And my lawyer. It was the first lie in a chain that would strangle them all. But as I lay there, plotting in the skin of the enemy, one truth burned bright. Reginald Harrington had killed the wrong woman. And I was going to make him pay. Slowly.
Personally.
In ways that would make the tabloids choke on their own headlines. The swap, how? Witchcraft? Science gone mad? Some experimental neural link from Harrington's black site labs. A failsafe Victoria had buried in case of betrayal? I didn't know then. And it didn't matter. What mattered was the power thrumming in my veins. Her face. Her access. Her life. I was Sienna Reyes. Ghost in the machine. And the revenge would be biblical. Discharge was a blur of NDAs and pitying glances. The miracle survivor, they called me. Victoria's team whisked me to the penthouse. A fortress of glass and steel overlooking Central Park. Alone at last, I stripped before the full-length mirror, tracing the unfamiliar curves. The faint scar on her hip from a yachting accident. My own body, Sienna's, was in a drawer downtown. Autopsy pending. But I mourned later. First, strategy. Reginald called that night. Voice syrup sweet over the line.
Beak.
Baby. Thank God.
I was.
Devastated. The police say it was a rival firm, Vanguard.
Probably.
We'll get through this. I bit back the urge to scream. Daddy, I cooed, channeling every Lifetime movie diva I'd ever seen. I need you. Come over? For old time's sake. He arrived at dawn, bearing orchids and crocodile tears. As he hugged me, her, I felt the tremor in his arms, the old man's frailty masked by cologne and control. We sat on the terrace, city waking below like a beast stirring. That reporter, he said carefully.
Elena.
She was trouble. Good riddance. My fingers tightened around the coffee mug. Trouble? She was my fiancé.
Dad.
And now she's gone because of your enemies. His eyes narrowed. Just a flicker. Collateral.
Beak.
You know how it is. I knew.
Oh.
I knew. And that's when the first seed sprouted, the plan to dismantle him from the inside. Start small. Attend the board meeting as Victoria. Greenlight the merger publicly while sabotaging it privately. Leak docs to my old contacts at the Pulse anonymous. Of course. Frame it as insider whistleblowing, but twist it to point fingers at him. But revenge isn't clean. It's a slow poison. And as I slipped into her wardrobe, silks and stilettos that felt like armor, I wondered, how long before I became her? Before the line between Sienna and Victoria blurred into oblivion? The boardroom at Harrington Tower was a Shark Tank in pinstripes. Midtown's elite circling like they owned the food chain, which they did. I strode in as Victoria, heels clicking like gunfire. Her signature red sole Louboutins pinching my toes. Heads turned, murmurs rippling. The prodigal daughter, risen from the dead.
Victoria. Darling, pure de Elena voz.
The CFO, a Botoxed barracuda with daddy issues. We thought we'd lost you. The merger vote. Proceeds. I cut in, voice steady as Victoria's martini hand. But with caveats. Enhanced ethics protocols. No more data dumps without consent.
gasps.
Reginald, at the head, steepled his fingers.
Beak. That's
Idealistic. The market. Screw the market, I snapped. Heat rising, Sienna's fire. Not her polish. We're Harringtons. We set the terms. The room froze. Controversial? Hell yes. Board members exchanged glances. Whispers of PTSD and stress. But Reginald smiled, thin as a blade. Atta girl. We'll discuss later. Later was his office. After hours. Bourbon poured like confessions. What's this about?
Beak.
You're not yourself. I leaned against his desk, close enough to smell the betrayal on him. Maybe I am.
Dad.
For the first time, my hand brushed his. A daughter's touch laced with venom. Tell me about the warehouse. The rival firm. His laugh was a bark. Water under the bridge. Focus on healing. Healing.
Right.
As he left, I hacked her, my computer, fingers flying over keys like old times. Files upon files. The merger docs. Encrypted. Detailing bribes to senators. Backroom deals with Vanguard that would flood black markets with harvested data. Enough to bury him. But buried secrets have a way of digging themselves up. That night, a knock at the penthouse door. Not Reginald. Jax's ghost? No, a woman. Mid-40s. Sharp suit. Eyes like mine, Sienna's eyes. MS. Harrington, she said, flashing a badge.
Detective Lara Ruiz.
NYPD. We need to talk about your fiancé's death. My stomach dropped. The autopsy. They'd found something. The swap?
Impossible.
But as she stepped inside, notebook poised, I realized the game had just gone national. Detective Ruiz wasn't the type to fuck around. She perched on Victoria's Eames chair like it owed her money, flipping pages with the efficiency of someone who'd seen too many bodies in too few years. Elena Vasquez, your Elena, didn't die clean. The bullet? Entry wound inconsistent with the angle. Looks like. Staging. Staging. The word hung in the air, thick as the fog rolling off the East River visible through the windows. I played Victoria to the hilt, hand to throat, eyes wide with feigned shock. Staging? God. Who would? Ruiz's gaze pinned me, unblinking. That's what we're asking. You were there, MS. Harrington. Fiancé to the Vic. Any enemies? Bad blood with Daddy's deals. Daddy. The casual drop made my skin crawl. She was fishing, and I was the bait. Reginald's rivals. Vanguard. Maybe.
Elena.
She was digging into the merger.
Thought it was shady.
A nod. Scribble, scribble. Shady enough to kill for? Vasquez's editor at the Pulse says she was onto something big. Emails about Harrington sins your family, I assume. I swallowed. Throat dry. Sienna's instinct screamed abort, but Victoria's poise held. Look, detective. Elena was passionate. Reckless. Even. If she crossed lines. Ruiz leaned forward, voice dropping. Lines like faking a relationship to infiltrate a Fortune 500? Because that's what it smells like. And now she's dead. You're the grieving widow. And Harrington stock's dipping on ethics concerns. Convenient. Controversial decisions start here. In the gray. Do I throw Reginald under the bus now? Too early? Or play the long game? Let the detective be my unwitting ally? I loved her, I whispered. Tears welling, real ones. Damn it. For the life I'd lost. If you need proof, check her apartment. Brooklyn. Off Bedford. There's a locket, our thing. Engraved. Ruiz's eyes softened. Just a fraction. Cops have hearts under the badges. I'll look. But, MS. Harrington, watch your back. Snakes in the garden and all that. She left with my number, Victoria's number, and a promise to circle back. Alone. I paced the penthouse. City lights mocking me like paparazzi flashes. The locket? A plant. Sienna's old burner phone stashed there with voice memos. Jack's spilling on the warehouse contingency plan. Reginald's neural tech experiments. Body swaps for execs. Consciousness uploads to dodge death. The secret. Victoria had known. Buried it to protect him.
And now?
It was my weapon. But power corrupts, they say. That week, as Victoria, I attended the memorial for Elena, me, a somber affair at St. Patrick's, filled with reporters sniffing for scandal. Reginald gave the eulogy, voice cracking just right, a bright light snuffed too soon. We'll honor her by building a better tomorrow. Hypocrite. I stood beside him, arm linked, fighting the urge to claw his eyes out. Whispers followed. Poor Vic.
So strong.
That reporter was trouble. Harringtons always land on their feet. Post-service brunch at the Polo Bar was a viper's nest. Elena Voss cornered me in the powder room. Lipstick reapplied like war paint.
Beak.
The board spooked. Your little ethics stunt? Stock's down 8%. Your father's furious. Let him be, I hissed, washing hands that itched for violence. Or join the dinosaurs. She laughed.
Brittle.
Bold. But boldness gets you killed. Like your girl. The threat lingered as I drove the Maserati back to Soho. Wind whipping my hair. Victoria's hair. Extensions shedding like lies. Home. I dove into sabotage. Anonymous tips to the pulse. Docs leaked via dead drops. The merger hit headlines. Harrington ethics overhaul or bust. And Reginald called. Rage veiled in concern.
Beak.
What the hell? This isn't you. Isn't it? I purred over speaker. Multitasking, emailing Ruiz a tip about warehouse CCTV. Maybe I'm evolving.
Dad.
Social responsibility and all that American dream bullshit. Silence. Then, we talk.
Dinner.
My club. The Union League Club. Mahogany and Old Boys Network. Reeked of cigars and entitlement. Reginald waited in a private booth. Scotch sweating on the table. He looked smaller here. The Titan frayed at the edges, 72. Parkinson's whispers in his tremor. Sit, he commanded. I did, ordering a Manhattan to match his vibe. Small talk first. Weather. Stocks. The tragic loss. Then, the knife. You're stirring shit.
Beak.
Leaks? Bored whispers? If it's grief. It's justice. I cut in. Voice low. For Elena. For Jax. For every low-level drone you fed to the machine. His face strained. Jax was a traitor.
Elena.
Collateral. Collateral? The word exploded from me. Sienna's Bronx edge slicing through. Heads turned, a waiter paused. Controversial? In this den of wolves. Yes. Daughters don't call out kings. You shot us.
Dad.
Your own blood. For a deal? He recoiled. then recovered, eyes gleaming. What did you say? The slip. Victoria wouldn't know the details, I did. Panic surged, but I doubled down. I pieced it. The rival firm? Your cleanup crew.
Admit it.
Reginald's laugh was ice. Therapy?
Beak.
You're cracking. He signaled for the check. But as we rose, his hand gripped my arm hard. Remember who built this. Cross me, and you're done. Outside, under the club's portico, rain slicked the sidewalk again. A black town car idled. Ride with me, he said. Not a request. The drive was silent war. Halfway to the tower, his phone buzzed a text, face illuminated. I glimpsed Vasquez autopsy anomalies. Ruiz digging. My heart hammered. Then, his voice.
Casual. Beak.
One more thing. The neural project, Project Echo. You remember? The swap.
He knew.
Or suspected.
Vaguely. I lied.
He nodded. Slow. Good. Because if anyone's playing games with identities,
Well.
families stick together. Drop off at the tower. And I bolted to the penthouse. Locks bolted. Blinds drawn. Hacked his emails next. Victoria's admin access a golden key. There, Echo files. Clandestine trials. Swaps on the homeless. The desperate. Victoria had volunteered. A loyalty test. The bullet, a trigger. Consciousness flung into backup hosts.
Me.
In her. Twist one. She was in me. Or had been. The body bag. The autopsy. Sienna's shell empty. Victoria's soul fled or fried. Reginald's failsafe. Dooming his daughter to punish the leak. Rage boiled. But so did fear. Ruiz called at midnight. Found the locket.
And a drive.
Vasquez was on to Echo. Says Harrington's swapping souls like stocks. You know anything? Meet me, I whispered. Tomorrow. Neutral ground. The meet was Washington Square Park. Arch looming like judgment. Ruiz arrived in civvies jeans. Leather jacket, coffee steaming into-go cups. Benches under sycamores shedding gold leaves. Joggers oblivious. Talk, she said. No preamble. I spilled, selectively. The warehouse. The shots. The miracle. Not the swap. Reginald did it. Covered as rivals. Her brow furrowed. Proof. The drive. Back it up. But careful, he's got reach. She pocketed the thumb drive I'd palmed. Why now? Why you? Because I'm done being collateral. Lie within truth. As she left, a shadow detached from the arch. Voss.
Vos.
Phone to ear. Tailing me. Paranoia set in. The penthouse felt like a cage. I needed allies. Leverage. Enter Marcus Hale. Victoria's confidant. Actually her lover. Per the texts.
Otad vis.
Mid-30s. All tattoos and trust funds. He'd ghosted post-shooting. I tracked him to a loft in the village, banging on the door at 2 a.m. He answered shirtless. Eyes bloodshot.
Beak. Shit.
The news. Miss me? I pushed inside, locking the door. The place screamed millennial money, vinyl collection, crypto rigs humming. We need to talk. About Echo. His face shuddered. You swore. I swore nothing. It's killing people. Marcus.
And now,
It's killing me. We talked till dawn, him pacing, me probing. He was in deep, coded the swap tech. Regretted it when Victoria pushed human trials. Reginald's obsessed. Immortality play. Upload the elite. Ditch the meat suits. Help me stop it. I touched his arm. Victoria's flirt. Sienna's plea. For her. He searched my eyes, her eyes, and nodded. Okay. But it's suicide. Suicide it was. Next board meeting. I escalated. Proposed full echo disclosure.
transparency initiative.
Chaos. Voss screamed conflict. Reginald adjourned. Face thunder. That night, the attack came. Black van tails me from the gym. Yoga for executives. Because why not? I swerve into traffic. Horns blaring. Heart in throat. Crash into a hydrant. Water geysering like Old Faithful. Foot chase through alleys. Heels ditched. Lungs burning. They corner me in a dead end. Masks up. Silenced pistols glinting. One lunges, I knee his groin. Sienna Street smarts in Victoria's frame. The other fires, misses. Pings off brick. I bolt. Phone dead. But Marcus's tracker pings my location.
Sirens by Ruiz? No.
Reginald's cleanup. Again. I fight dirty. Nails raking. Elbow to throat. One down.
Gasping.
The other grabs my hair, her hair, and slams me against the wall. Stars. Then, a crack his neck?
No.
Marcus. Bat in hand. Face feral. Go, he yells. Swinging. I run. Blocks blurring. Collapse in a diner on Houston. Payphone calling Ruiz. They're closing in. I gasp.
Echo.
It's real. Swaps.
Pause. Jesus. Get to the precinct. Now.
But as I hang up, a reflection in the diner's window, not just exhaustion. A crack in the mask. Marcus's eyes on me in the alley, doubt. Did I scream like her? Fight like her? The swap was fraying. Memories bleeding. Victoria's prom night. First betrayal by dad. My own, mom's overdose. The foster grind. Who was I becoming? Climax brewing. Reginald's gala that weekend. Merger announcement. Black tie affair at the Met. My stage. Leak the echo files live. Via Marcus's hack. Ruiz with backup. Voss as the fall guy. But twists wait for no one. The morning of. A package, the locket. Engraved forever.
S.
Inside. A note, she's watching. End it. Or join her.
Victoria.
Alive? In my body? The autopsy lie. The empty shell. Backup upload. The game inverted. Revenge or rescue. The Met's temple of Dender shimmered like a fever dream that Friday night. Nile blue lights casting the faux Egyptian temple in ethereal glow. Champagne flutes tinkling like chimes of the damned. I was Victoria Harrington, heiress apparent, in a gown of midnight silk that hugged curves I'd never earned, diamonds at my throat winking like lies. The gala was Reginald's coronation, merger sealed. Toasts to innovation's edge. 200 power players, senators, celebs, the whisperers who greased America's wheels, milled under the stars imported from 15 BC. I moved through them like a specter, smile fixed, handshakes firm. Voss clung to Reginald's arm, her loyalty bought with promises of COO. Marcus hovered at the edges. Earpiece in. Sweat beading despite the AC. Ruiz texted. Perimeter set. Files ready? Ready. I replied. Fingers trembling on the clutch that hid the detonator, Marcus's USB worm. Primed to flood the gala screens with echo horrors, trial vids of swaps gone wrong. Screams digitized into static, ledgers of bribes. Bodies dumped in Jersey landfills. Reginald found me by the reflecting pool. Reflection warped like our souls.
Beak.
You look radiant. His hand on my shoulder.
Paternal poison.
Tonight, we win.
Win.
The word curdled. To victory, I toasted, clinking his flute. Up close, he was a ruin, eyes sunken, tremor worse. Parkinson's. Or guilt. Dad, one question. Project Echo, why? He stiffened, glass pausing midair. Legacy.
Pumpkin.
The flesh fails. But mine's eternal. Eternal at what cost? My voice cracked, Sienna's rawness bleeding through. Guests glanced. A senator excused himself. Controversial. Yes. Airing family laundry at the fate of the year? His smile didn't reach his eyes.
Costs are for the weak. Now.
Smile. Cameras. Flashbulbs popped as we posed. The perfect dynasty. But inside, the worm writhed. Marcus signaled. 2 minutes. I slipped away, toward the sound booth, heart pounding a war drum. The twist hit like a gut punch. In the shadowed alcove, a figure waited, not Marcus.
Me.
Sienna's body, gaunt and bruised, eyes hollow but fierce.
Victoria.
Or her echo, in my skin. You bitch, she hissed. Voice mine, but laced with her venom. Stole my life. I froze. World narrowing to her us.
You're
alive. Upload glitch, she snarled, stepping closer. The gown's rustle echoing. Dad's tech. Backup consciousness. Pulled me from the void into this trash heap. She gestured at my old frame. The calluses. The faded tattoos from Juvie ink. But I fixed it. Hacked the morgue. Walked out.
Now.
Give it back. The swap reversed? Or illusion? Her hand shot out. Syringe glinting, neural override. Echo serum. One prick. And we're us again. Fight or flight. I dodged. Elbow slamming her wrist, the syringe skittered across marble. She lunged. Feral. Nails, my nails raking my arm. We grappled. A twisted mirror match, heiress in rags versus ghost in silk. You betrayed me, she gasped. Knee to my thigh. The fake fiancé? You're a porter ploy? I trusted you. Trusted. I wheezed, pinning her against a pillar. You used me.
To topple him.
Then let him bury us both. Truth sliced deeper than fists. Victoria, her, had orchestrated the pitch. The meet. Knowing Reginald's paranoia. Jack's dead. Me as bait. The swap, her failsafe. Souls swapped to frame the rival, her and the victim, body to testify against him later. You gunned us down, I roared.
Low.
Guests oblivious beyond the velvet rope. Lies, she spat. Headbutting me, stars. Blood trickling warm. He pulled the trigger. I planned the escape. Lies within lies. The crime I bore, Sienna's death. Pinned on Elena, the mistake of trust. Reginald's pawn. But Victoria's too. Marcus burst and then, eyes wild.
Beak, Sienna.
Shit. He yanked her off me. Zip ties from his pocket. Prepared for this? Help me, she pleaded. My face twisting in terror. She's the imposter. He hesitated, gaze flicking to me.
Doubt.
The bleed, Victoria's memories in me. My steel in her. Prove it, he demanded. She laughed. Broken. The locket. Inside. Our code. Echo 7 Alpha. He checked. Nod. But I countered. Ask about the warehouse. The safe word. Prometheus, she whispered.
Wrong.
Mine was Icarus. Marcus's face hardened. Sienna? I nodded, surging forward. We subdued her, him restraining, me injecting the serum reverse. Her, my body slumped, eyes fluttering. Victoria out. Or trapped. No time. Gala, I gasped.
Now.
We raced to the booth. Worm unleashed. Screens flickered, merger slides warped to echo exposés. Gasps rippled through the crowd, phones out. Live streams igniting. Reginald on stage. Mid-toast. To the future. Future froze. His face. Projected giant. Ordering Jax's disposal. Cool as a board vote. Chaos. Screams. Flashes. Security swarming. I stepped out. Victoria's poise. Microphone snatched. Ladies and gentlemen, the Harrington future, built on stolen souls. Reginald World. Eyes locking on mine, her recognition dawning.
Beak.
What have you
done?
I finished. Voice amplified. Exposed you. For Elena. For Jax. For every ghost in your machine. Security closed in. Ruiz burst through side doors. Badge flashing. Cuffs ready. Reginald Harrington. You're under arrest for murder. Conspiracy. He bolted. Stage dive toward the exit. But Voss tripped him. Heel to ankle. You promised me the throne, she snarled. As cops piled on. Cufflinks clattered. Empire cracked. Cheers mixed with boos, heroes or traitors. The crowd debated in real time. Phones buzzing with Harrington fall. But the real twist loomed. As they dragged him past, Reginald twisted, spitting. It's not over.
Beak.
Echoes in you. Forever. Handcuffs clicked, he was gone. Flashbolts blinded. Marcus pulled me back. Lips brushing my ear. We did it.
Did we?
Victoria stirred in the alcove. My body rising like Lazarus. The swap incomplete. 2 souls in limbo. Revenge's climax. Pyrrhic. The gala dissolved into scandal. Mergers aborted. Stocks cratering. I was hailed as whistleblower queen. Interviews queued. Book deals whispered. But in the penthouse after, alone with Marcus and the sedated me, doubt festered. She's you, he said, bandaging my scratches. Or was. What now?
Now.
I stared at the mirror. 2 faces warring. We ended. The decision, controversial to the core. Mercy kill?
Upolat.
Or merge, become hybrid. Sienna Victoria. Phoenix from the fraud? Dawn broke over the skyline. Decisions dangling like nooses. The penthouse felt less like a fortress and more like a tomb by Saturday morning. Sunlight slicing through blinds like accusatory fingers. Illuminating the wreckage. Overturned lamps from our scuffle. Champagne stains on the Persian rug like blood money splatters. Victoria, trapped in my old body, lay strapped to the guest bed. 4 drip of sedatives Marcus had jury-rigged from her med kit. Her chest rose and fell in shallow rhythm. Sienna's frame looking borrowed and wrong, like a suit tailored for a ghost. Marcus paced the living room, laptop open to news feeds exploding, CNN looping the gala meltdown, Twitter ablaze with soul swap scandal, memes of Reginald as Frankenstein's mad doc. Ruiz has him, he said, voice edged with awe. Feds involved now. Echoes going nuclear, congressional hearings. The works. I nodded, nursing coffee black as my mood. Victoria's robe loose on shoulders that no longer felt foreign. The bleed had accelerated post-serum, flashes of her childhood, equestrian shows. Daddy's claps like thunder, my own block parties. Sirens wailing. Memories merging. Identities fraying. Good. But her? I jerked a thumb toward the bedroom. She's the loose end. He stopped, eyes searching mine, ours. Vic, Sienna, whatever. Killing her? That's not you. Not me. Laughter bubbled. Bitter. Which me? The reporter who infiltrated for the story. Or the heiress who baited the trap. Truth's reversal hit like the serum sting. Piecing the shards, Victoria's plan. Yes, fake fiancé to draw me in. Expose Reginald via my byline. But the warehouse? My slip-up. I'd pushed the meat. Demanded proof too soon. Jack spooked. Called her. She couldn't warn without tipping Dad. The shots? Reginald's impulse. But my recklessness lit the fuse. The crime I bore. Not just death, but the betrayal's spark. I'd gunned us both. In a way. Both, Marcus said, sinking beside me on the sectional. You're both now. And that's the power.
Power.
The word twisted. We'd won the war, Reginald in a cell downtown. Voss flipping for immunity. Echo dismantled by dawn raids. But the personal?
A void.
My old life, Sienna's, mourned in op-eds as tragic heroism. Victoria's? Splintered. Me puppeteering the remnants. Calls from lawyers. Pity from socialites. A groan from the bedroom. We entered cautious. She stirred. Eyes fluttering open, my eyes. But her fire. Sienna, she croaked. Voice gravel from disuse.
You.
One. Straps chafed her wrists. I loosened one.
Tentative.
Not one. Surviving. She coughed.
Weak.
The upload.
Glitch.
Dad's tech. Meant for him. I volunteered to test. For leverage, a tear tracked down my cheek. But you. In me. It's poetic. Or hell. Marcus hovered. Syringe ready, final dose. If needed. The decision loomed, dark and debatable. And her? Mercy for the fractured. Or reverse. Risk the abyss. Tell me everything, I said, sitting on the bed's edge. No more games. It poured out. Halting. Victoria's rebellion. Deep betrayal by Reginald's affairs. His grooming her for the throne while hiding mistress's abortions in Cayman accounts. The secret. Echo born from his fear of death. First trials on immigrants, undocumented swaps. Bodies discarded like husks. Jax discovered. Threatened exposure. She silenced him. Regret gnawing.
Me?
The perfect mark. Hungry. Ethical. Blind to the hook. You used me, I said, not accusing.
Fact.
And you used me back. Her smile. Faint our smile. Fate's a bitch. Climax's echo, not guns.
But choice.
We merge, I decided. Voice steady. Controversial? Merging souls in a lab hack? Marcus blanched, insane but nodded, coding the neural bridge on the fly. Electrodes. IVs. The penthouse turned mad science den. As currents hummed, worlds collided, her equestrian grace in my street grit, my fire in her calculation. Pain lanced, white-hot, birth.
Death.
Rebirth. Whispers, who are you? We are. Emergence. One body, Victoria's. Stronger, eyes opening to hybrid sight. Sienna Victoria. Seamless scar. Marcus exhaled. It worked? We said. Voice layered. Yes. The aftermath unfolded in waves. Reginald's trial-dominated fall, echo horrors unveiled. Swaps on the vulnerable, trafficked souls for the elite's eternity. He railed innocence. Visionary, but evidence crushed. Our testimony. Voss's flip. Marcus's code. Sentenced life.
No parole.
In a supermax where neural scans probed for residual echoes. Public? Frenzy. Op-eds debated. Hero or monster? Harringtonaris. Savior or sociopath? Protests outside the tower. Justice for echoes. Signs demanding reparations. We donated the empire. Billions to victim funds.
Ethics labs.
Scholarships for Bronx kids like old Sienna. But endings aren't tidy.
Marcus C. Lower.
Anchor, nights tangled in sheets. Debating philosophies over takeout tie. You think we're whole? He'd ask, tracing the scar from the warehouse. Whole enough, we'd reply. But doubts lingered. Flashes. Victoria's guilt. Sienna's rage. Therapy helped group for survivors. Ironic circle of the swapped. 1 year on. Central Park under snow. We walked the paths where Ruiz first met me. A bench. Hot cider steaming. Happy, he asked. The question hung. Debatable. Happy ending? Or bi-tragic? Souls stitched from ruin? We'd toppled a titan. Birthed a new self. But the cost, betrayals etched eternal. Content, we said,
Leaning into him.
for now. The city whispered on. American dream remade in our image. Flawed. Fierce. Forever changed. And in the quiet, two voices harmonized. Revenge? Just the beginning.